Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community. Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
Hey, good morning. Waking up blessed. I'm your host, John Hollis, for this show. It's live Monday through Friday, and it's from 9 a.m. to 9:30. Glad you all could show up and take a listen. The goal is to start the day with some inspiration and hope, using a thought for the day, health and wellness interviews, and guest stories of experience, strength, and hope. The show is part of the Rockers in Recovery Radio Network, and you can check us out at rockersinrecovery.com. Click on the About, click on events, click on media partners. It's all there. And, of course, we want to thank our friends over at Sober Map app. You can go to the App Store and Google Play and check them out. You can download the app, and it gives you access to, just like Yelp, all of the local 12-step meetings in your area or wherever you may be traveling. Kind of helps you set up a map of road recovery. It's kind of cool. And you can check that out, of course, at the App Store and Google Play. Download it and check it out. It also has some other recovery information there, too. So it's a great way to find out where you're going and, plot your trip or just find a meeting in your area. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Waking Up Blessed. We started the show in lieu of, hey, listen, we all need to wake up, and by the grace of God, we get to. And how do we start our day? Do we start our day, with a bunch of funk in our head and move forward? No, I was taught that, I use my daily reflections. I use my 24-hour a day book. I'm now doing some, like a study in Proverbs, one every day for each day in a month. It's kind of a cool thing to be able to get planted right. Now, everybody knows that, or a lot of people may not know, or whatever the deal is, but, I've been going through a crisis at home, and one of the things that I get to do today is be a part of life, and I get to be a part of the love of recovery and family. And, over the weekend, we had, me and Lori, we had to go to her biopsy on Friday. And we went to the biopsy, and they did the biopsy, and they biopsied three spots on her left breast. And one of the things that we're now sitting in that holding pattern waiting for the results. The results will be in sometime by Wednesday. But one of the things that occurred over the weekend was she can't lift anything. She can't do a lot. So I was able to, set some things aside and just be there and kind of hang out, watch some movies and do some things. And I got to tell you, that's different from me because I'm always about working and always about posting and always about this and always about that. And, moving and constantly moving. For me to sit still and just be with her was really, really cool. Friday and Saturday. Of course, Sunday I went right back to work. And I'm sure you've seen all of the posts, but they were kind of cool, too. We have a kind of a cool thing coming up. Me and Lori were talking about it over the weekend, is that you don't really realize how much you've accomplished by God's grace until you start looking at it. And, man, we just found some things that, we were able to do over the last 10 years that Rockers in Recovery has been around, and it's been an amazing trip. And Waking Up Blessed is just one of those new things that, and new concepts and blessings that God has given us to be able to carry the message forward in a new way, along with the old ways, along with altogether guys like our friend Gary Tanin. He's going to be on this morning. He is, of course, going to tell us what Waking Up Blessed means to him and how he starts his day and where he gets his inspirations from. And we're going to get some information from him on how he starts his day, so that way maybe it can help you. And let's get Gary on the phone. Gary, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on Waking Up Blessed, and it's always glad to hear your voice.
Thank you, John. It's an honor being asked this morning. You said a mouthful there. In first of all, just the fact that I'd say this for anybody, right? Just the fact that we take so much for granted, waking up at all. And if you're anybody who is of the population or group that you spoke of, including ourselves, then there were a lot of times you wished you didn't wake up.
Oh yeah.
So for me, I think you hit it. You hit a lot of very important ideas. I think that for people in recovery, like ourselves, that first of all, I realize, at least for myself, that I'm a human being, and that number one, there's nothing I can do about that. that somehow that must be okay, because if you have any kind of whatever your spiritual beliefs are, however you manage to become you, whatever way you look at that, it must be okay for you to be you, especially if you're somebody who's in recovery and benefiting from a new life. Then however you got here must be okay, because the way you were wasn't. And that's the part, no matter what it is I wake up that I'm dealing with, fundamentally, every day is 1,000% better than my best day when I thought when I thought I had great days, back when I was, struggling with the disease on a daily basis. So, and that's hard to do for me. I mean, and it doesn't matter how many years in recovery a person has. I'm talking about myself, that it's still a struggle on a daily basis to deal with the fact that I'm a human being. Okay, and then and that has failings, that has frailties, and it's okay to have those. What recovery's taught me is it's what I do with it. So you talk about being a type person who gets involved, is, I want to fix, I want to do. This is what I do on a daily basis, and I'm very much like that as well. In the kind of work that I do as a producer, engineer, if I don't have a task in front of me, I'm not happy. And so much so that when things happen in my life that require me not to be, busy in my face with something, I have difficulty. And that, to me, is where, at least for me, I need to rely on the experience of others and experience of wisdom of other people who've been in recovery, and ask myself, what would they do? Because I'm not always that good at coming up with the immediate answer. But I can certainly focus on lots of times when I've heard, in situations like that, a person, who's either a sponsor, or we talk about sponsors in recovery, or someone who's had many years of experience beyond our own, would say things like, in recovery, the test of how well you've worked at this is how big is your higher power, not when things are going good, but when they're going bad.
Mm.
And to that end, I, like yourself and anybody who's been in recovery for any length of time, I'm sure has been in situations where it's incumbent on them to be in a situation where you have to rely on that, because it's the difference between what would have been the normal thing for me to always think and do in the past to get it, which is, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I go use again, but the first knee-jerk thought I have is running away. The first knee-jerk idea is, oh, why do I have to deal with whatever this is? That would be my normal psychology, my normal way of thinking, and I find that it's hard not to use this word, but let me say just mysteriously, if people don't like the word miraculously, because that has a lot of connotation, but I will say mysteriously, that the longer that I've been involved in recovery, mysteriously, when I am challenged by quote-unquote life, that the idea of running becomes less interesting to me. That the idea of looking for strength from the community I have or others around me or that spiritual connection, whatever it is, that is the thing I crave or look to, that somehow is the very strength that I lean on in order to deal with life's problems, life on life's terms. I've heard that millions of times. Life on life's terms, and the way that you've been reflecting lately on the accomplishments of rockers in recovery. This is exactly that idea of looking back at, okay, what has been accomplished in this positive sense that brings strength then to deal with what you're having to deal with at the moment, and for anybody, right? You look back at, okay, what did you do? What have you done in the past, and what can you do right now that that works? And prayer, if that's your way of connecting, meditating, and those kinds of things that I've heard millions of times that are the very things that offer the strength to me when I'm faced with anything.
Yeah, prayer's a huge thing for me. And I truly believe that, when you're going through something, if you don't let other people know that, you were saying that was really kind of cool what you were talking about. You have to reach out to those people that you really, respect, and you respect their judgment, and you respect what they're going to tell you. And it's not always what you want to hear. But
right.
The good news is what you need to hear. And, through prayer and finding and seeking God in what's going on in life, it tends to, it doesn't make it, I can tell you this, Gary, it doesn't make it easier at the moment, but what it does is it makes it palatable. You can get through things a lot better, and with strength. You're still going to have those things coming in, but I think that we get to have a program today that enables us to live a life that was riddled with fear, anxiety, depression, and all of the rest of the things that came with active addiction. We don't have to have those anymore, so we can survive these things. When and one of the questions I have for you, and you've been around, in long-term recovery for how many years now?
37.
37 years. So in the last 37 years, you have woken up every day by the grace of God with a new life. And what are some of the structured things that you do that maybe a newcomer that's sitting out there right now, or somebody like myself, can utilize and can help them on their daily walk?
Well, going back to what I was initially talking about, which is the idea that no matter what it is you wake up to today, and I preface this with, I don't want anybody to think that I present the way that I deal with life is much different than, quote unquote, perhaps other people, the other 90% that we talk about. We talk percent of people who are potentially have this thing called addiction, and the rest of the world, the other 90% that have no clue. And maybe the other 90% of the world knows how to do this. But for me, as a person that had the dealing with my alcoholism, drug addiction, that for me, those normal ways of dealing with life, for whatever reason, were missing, and I had to develop those in recovery. I had to find out what the right ways were in recovery. And so what I get to when I wake up in the morning is I realize, look, a lot of things happen to me just because I'm a human being, and I used to believe that even for a long time in early recovery, for sure, I would believe that the things that were happening to me were in reaction to the fact that a punishment for having been an alcoholic or an addict. And I laugh at that now because, of course, it makes sense that I would think that, because I was not well thinking, right? But I look back at that now and say, well, of course, that's really it. From my perspective now, that's silly. That in fact many of the things that happened to me simply because I was a human being. And today I have things that happen to me simply because I'm a human being, and I have to be very careful as to ferret out what it is I can do about some of those things and what it is I can't. And this brings me back to the oft-cited prayer and the little pamphlet that one of the organizations, might be Hazelton, puts out about the idea of acceptance, right? I used to think of this prayer as being a premonition of something bad about to happen, and I hated to even consider it, because what it said was something to the order of having to pray for the knowledge to know the difference of what it is I can do something about and I can't. To me, at the crux of my recognition of what it is I can or can't do about the disease of alcoholism, or how I deal with life on life's terms, has to do with the concept of acceptance. Can I understand what it is I can do something about this morning, and what things I can't? And if it's something I can't do anything about, which, by the way, oftentimes I think I can, I just need to look at a different angle of the problem, and I think if I come at it at a different angle, okay, if I do this, it's almost like the desire to have an effect, and realizing that all that energy that I'm spending thinking that maybe what it is I'm going to do is going to make a difference is wasted energy. And this prayer brings me back to that concept that, the knowledge of the difference between what it is I can do and what it is I can't. And for me, I need help with that desperately. Because I don't know, maybe for yourself, John, too, but for guys like us, we're kind of taught that things are dropped in our lap and, darn it, some kind of way, shape, or form, we got to find a way through it. That sounds great. That sounds very masculine, and it sounds very accomplishment-oriented. But it almost does nothing when it comes to spinning my head in circles around something that I ought not be thinking I have any control over. And that's where I need help outside myself, right? At least for me, I have to go, okay, this is meditation time. This is calm down, breathe deep. The knowledge of knowing the difference of what it is I can or can't do. And that's really powerful because if it's something I can't do anything about, I know what can, right? It has to be left in the hands of whatever my spiritual connection to whatever that higher power is, and belief, or attempted belief, that higher power is going to do the best thing for me. And that's tough because it means I got to let go of the idea that I'm actually doing something about whatever it is. I'll give you a great example of this. It was early on in recovery when I was dealing with all sorts of problems at work, relationship problems falling apart. This is a couple years in recovery. The person that I looked up to give me advice, we call them sponsors in recovery. I came to this person and I said, this is really not fair. You talk about having a higher power who's supposed to be taking care of me, and here I am 2 years in recovery, and my boss is not giving me a raise or recognizing what I'm doing fast enough. My relationships are falling apart, and this is really not fair. The universe is not fair. And this person said, not fair. He said, let's take a look. Let's see. 3 years ago, you were driving around at 3 a.m. trying to find XYZ with a broken taillight, with probably suspended license, with God knows what in the car, and a police officer drove past you and didn't stop you. That's not fair. Not fair was the car accident that you had with your best friend where you nearly killed your best friend. Both of you survived this. You were both drinking. That's not fair. If everything was fair, you would have been dead 1,000 times. So the not fair for you is that it's not fair that you're actually still alive, rather than the small not fair that you're talking about, that life is dealing you some negative at this time. So, it's all perspective, and that's for me, at least I'm talking about myself, that's the hardest thing to maintain is when there's a crisis or a difficult time is perspective, because my natural tendency is to blow it out of proportion, to forget what it is that I do on a daily basis, to really deal with all the years that I've managed to, put one foot in front of the other. Very simple stuff. I forget all that in the moment of crisis, and I want to fix it. And in the desire to fix it, I lose perspective on what it is I actually could be doing about it, which is turning it over and recognizing that I can do something about my next breath, but I can't do something about moving the mountain over there. And there is, there is something I can look to move that mountain, but it isn't going to be me. And we both reflect back on the gift, and this is the way I go to a meeting that focuses on this, and it's the constant reminder that this is all a gift, and the way that I lose the gift is to lose sight that it's a gift and to forget where the gift is coming from. And I have to work on that every day.
Good stuff, man. I am so glad that you came on this morning, Gary, and shared with us, your experience, strength, and hope. This is, for me, it helps me start my day, and most importantly, it helps other people to maybe take a look at the way they start their day too. And we get to all work together, just like you were going to, a meeting or meeting with some people to have coffee and talk about what your day's like, or, all of those things. Something through faith in my higher power, God. It moves mountains as long as I just keep, that perspective that really there's nothing I can do. You were talking about the serenity prayer, and the serenity prayer is a huge thing in my life. I have to constantly, at times of trouble, seek God. And they told me a long time ago that the only thing that's going to stand between you and a drink or a drug one day is going to be your higher power. That no human being was going to be able to help you through those situations at times, and you're going to have to rely on your spiritual growth. And I got to tell you, I've been there. I have, had those moments of, wow, something, I want to run away. You were talking about that whole running away thing. I get it. When things are not going the way I want them to go,
right.
What's the first thing I want to do is run away. And
right.
Something, today we have the ability and we have the gift of that, what you were talking about, that gift, that we have something to rely upon today that we didn't have for many, many years. So I am so blessed to have you on the show this morning and sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And I want to thank you for being on. And something, if you want to check out some of Gary's stuff, he is a record producer, and he's out of Wisconsin, and he's a great sound guy, I got to tell you. If you could, check out Gary at Gary Tanin on Facebook, and you can get everything from there. But Gary's a great guy. And we're going to have Gary on Music and Recovery coming up because he's got a release that's going to be happening here. Tell us a little bit about that before we go.
Oh, sure. That new record coming out with an artist named David Fitzpatrick that we've been working on for close to 3 years. That is, to me, one of my career highlights. It's just been kind of a sleeper for me because we've been working on it so long. And things that I work on for this length of time, I generally don't expect to have some cohesiveness, and I'm totally delighted and surprised with what we ended up with, and I'm really, really grateful that you're going to have David and myself on for that, and look forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up. We're going to work out those times and schedules, but you can, of course, be assured that it will be posted.
Great.
So, that being said, I want to thank you again, Gary, for being on. Much love, and thank you for your support, your personal support from me, and, of course, the support of Rockers in Recovery. You're a great guy. We appreciate your help.
Well, thank you, John, for the opportunity to share, and anytime you need anything, you know where to call. Okay?
I appreciate that. It means a lot.
All right.
God bless. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah. Take care.
All right, guys, there you go. Waking Up Blessed. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, we want to let you know that if you're out there right now and you're hurting, you're waking up and you're not feeling blessed, as Gary was stating, there is help out there. If you go to rockersandrecovery.com and you click on the media partners, or if you're listening on the page right now, if you just scroll down, there's all types of information there for help, from private treatment to SAMHSA to music cares, smart recovery, AA, NA, everything's listed on that page. So you're more than welcome to, of course, in my opinion, go through all of that stuff, find out, and, really educate yourself, especially if you're looking for a loved one. Be educated on what you're looking at. One of the things that we tend to do is just throw stuff into a search engine, and the next thing you know, we're just accepting what we see or hear. And I think what we need to do, in my opinion, is go through and really get educated on what we're dealing with, especially with addiction of a family member. If you're out there and you're hurting, there's plenty of information there, and you can always reach out and send us a message too. But most importantly, you have a day, a new day, and where there's breath, there's hope, and we can move forward today in a way that we never thought was possible when we were using. So kudos to everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and being a part of Waking Up Blessed. You guys have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another special guest, and Monday through Friday, right here on rockersandrecovery.com, and, of course, pinned at the Rockers and Recovery Facebook page, Waking Up Blessed, Monday through Friday, 9 to 9:30 a.m., and, of course, thank you to SoberMap, and check out SoberMap at the App Store and the Google Play Store. Download it, and you can find a meeting in your neighborhood. Talk to you soon. Thank you for being a part of the show. We're going to go out with a great lady. Of course, we've been playing her song a little bit here over the last couple of weeks, and it's Road to Recovery, Stacey Hampton. You can check her out at Stacey Hampton Music on Facebook.
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.